Welcome to the Listening Well, the space where every story matters. I'm Shania, your host and therapist, here to share real conversations and anonymous letters from listeners who are ready to speak their truth or just share something that they want to tell. Some stories are spoken, some are written, all are worth hearing. Let's listen in. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to a new episode and another story. We are here today with Yusra, and we are so lucky to have gotten connected from her finding us from sharing our story form. I would love to take a moment for you to just share a little bit about yourself, Yusra, and what drew you to join and reach out to be on the pod today.
Hello, Shania and everyone. Thank you for having me today. It's my pleasure as well. So, my name is Yusra. I'm a trauma survivor and mental health advocate. And why I decided to share my story or to join you on the podcast, there is no the right time to share your story, especially when it's related to trauma and mental health. And mental health, there's always the right time. So that's why I decided to share my story. And recently I was seeing a lot of there is two sides when people talk about mental health and trauma. So either they are glorifying this and it's fine if you are going through this, or yeah, we understand and we feel sorry about you. And there's the other side of, like, if you are passing through this, you will not be able to heal from that. uh, and which both sides, they have the wrong and the right side in them. So that's why I decided to talk about this.
That is really, really beautiful. And I just appreciate your value for how important it is to talk about mental health. Myself, I'm a social worker and I'm also a therapist. So it's really great to be able to have this conversation. And for one, I just want to thank you for someone who has lived experience, as someone who has experienced trauma, wanting to share your story and to create strength in your story is a really beautiful thing, and that's hard to do.
I'm a social worker too, so
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I don't want to
it's
assume, but what brought you into wanting to do social work as work and to doing mental health advocacy? Because while folks might have an experience, it may not always bring them to the point of wanting to help others.
yeah. So when I started being involved in the social work field, I was 13, 14, and I didn't
Wow.
understand that this is the social work field,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I discovered that people struggle all the time, but they heal when they are together.
Yes.
Yeah, so I like, but then I took a different field. I started teaching. I studied ECE and I started teaching, and then I realized, like, I'm not there. This is not my place. So I went back to the social work and I got my master's degree and I started working in the field and I'm stuck there.
Amazing. We definitely end up getting stuck. Once you're in social work, I don't know if you get out of it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And for mental health, I struggled with mental health. And when I struggled with mental health, we couldn't say it out loud. Like,
Right.
you just will be classified as you are a crazy person, you know? And when I started doing therapy 13 years ago, no one knew. I was the only one in my environment that went to therapy, and I couldn't say it out loud to anyone, and I couldn't discuss it with anyone. And that's why I decided, like, no, I know how therapy can, like, it helped me through 13 years. That's why I'm still here.
Yeah.
So I decided that we have to always be out loud about that and voice up about that.
Mhm. Yes, thank you for your testimony on that. I definitely agree that for so much of time there has been such a heavy like stigma and taboo topic around mental health, even though our mental health, our mental is just as important, if not more, than our physical health. And I think, part of that work is just being able to normalize it. So thank you for speaking on that. I love when you said that, in order for us to heal, we have to heal together because we generally can't really do that work alone. So that's really beautiful and just something I wanted to highlight.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. So we have reached the storytelling segment of today's episode. So what would you like to share with everyone today?
So I have several trauma during my life, and I'm truly a believer that the traumas that I passed throughout my life brought me here. So at age of 10, we were on the dinner table and we had a family friend with us, and she said to me that my father, when I was born, he was crying and he left the hospital.
Okay.
So I still remember the feeling until now, like I felt abandoned by my parents. I felt hate toward this friend, and I was looking to the answer in my father's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't find anything. And then throughout the years, I was able to justify my father's behavior, and I was always to forgive him. I was able to forgive him. We are coming from a male dominant society, and he didn't have any sons, so he had always daughters, and he was always bullied by the environment,
Okay.
him and my mom as well. But I couldn't justify the family friend behavior. Then when I was doing my grade 12, so we had an official exam, so I failed the first attempt.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to go to, so I wasn't allowed to stay in the village with the family. I had to go to the city, and my mother told me that you can go back when you pass the exam.
Okay.
So
That's
you have to
tough.
study. Yeah, but I was able to justify all of this, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my father, he has a good reputation, and it will not be good on him that his daughter, she just didn't pass the exam.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, she had to say this because she always follow my father, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Would you mind sharing a little bit more about the environment? You shared that it was like a male dominated environment and your father only had daughters, so it sounds like it would be of some sort of like relevance, importance for him to have like a son of some sort. Would you share like a little bit of background about what that means?
So when you are living in a male dominant society, that's mean like in my environment,
Mm-hmm.
like the male is very sacred. They don't give any importance to the female.
Mm-hmm.
And as a female, your job only to finish grade 12, and then you will get married, and then you will be like serving your husband. You don't have to study, you don't have to work, you don't have to be educated. My father wasn't like this. He wanted us to get educated. So we are six daughters and one son. The son came after me.
Mm-hmm.
So we are all educated, and we all worked before, have a work before getting married,
Okay.
But he was always like, yeah, what the society wants.
Mm-hmm.
He was very influenced by the society because this is how he was raised.
Right, right. Makes
His
sense.
parents, they were raised like this, and they raised him like this, and there was a high pressure on him because he was the only son within his siblings that he was educated,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a good reputation in the education field and in the social work field.
Okay. So it sounds like he really had to serve as a pillar of like, this is how you do this well as a male
Yeah,
figure within
yeah,
the
yeah.
family.
And he was the only one between the siblings that he had a son.
Okay.
So he had a lot of pressure
That just
around
sounds
him.
like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and he threw the pressure on us.
Hmm.
But as a child, you are always able to justify anything for your parents because you love them,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know? And I feel honestly, this is what healed me, that I was able to justify this.
Hmm.
And I was able to understand that they are a human as me, and they can do mistakes. And I'm sure if they know better than this, they would be, they will do it.
Right, right.
Yeah. Uh, so when I was studying for the official exam, so there was a festival in this area, and I went to the festival with my sister, and we met there one man from the village. He was in his 30s. So we spent the night, we were chatting. Then the next day he came over. So I just heard a knock on the door, and I opened the door, and he was there, and he sexually assaulted me.
Okay. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And at this time, I didn't understand that it's not my fault. I didn't understand that I don't have to blame myself. I don't understand that I don't have to be guilty or to feel guilty about that. So after I passed the exam, I went back to the village, and I was panicking all the time because his house is like few blocks
Okay.
away of our house, and I didn't tell anyone. I couldn't tell anyone because it's my fault. Then moving forward in 2017, one of my coworkers also sexually assaulted me, but at this time I was like, no, it's not my fault. It's them.
Okay, you've done some of that healing to recognize
Yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
victim in this situation, and I'm really sorry to hear that happened to you again.
Thank you. And I didn't stay silent about that. I was like fighting and fighting, but then the HR department blamed me.
Would you mind sharing a bit more about what that looked like? Because that's really difficult, and I'm sure a lot of people have been in those situations where they're trying to advocate for themselves in the workplace.
So when the incident happened, the first thing I did is I called the HR, and I told them, so this person did 1, 2, 3, and it's sexual assault.
Yeah.
And I know this. I'm a social worker.
Right.
So she asked me, did you initiate the conversation with him? So I said, even if I initiate the conversation with them, they don't have the right to do this to me.
Exactly.
And you should know this because you're an HR.
Right. Right.
Stop the conversation with her because she doesn't understand. I talked with the boss, the director. I was like, this is what was happening. So he told me, you have to talk with HR. I was like, your HR said this. And I asked for a meeting. And I was like, this is what I have. This is my supported document. And this is what the law in our country say about this.
Right.
You know. And they tried to defend him as much as they can.
That's sad.
But I was like, whatever you want, I don't care. I want I want to protect myself, and I want to feel that I'm valued. He did something that it was very hurting, you know? Like, I had the voice to talk, but I know that if he did this with me, he can do this with anyone else.
Right.
Maybe he will not be able to voice up. Like, it took around 1 month after that they decided to, they offered me a free counseling. And they offered me a paid days off until I'm able to go back. But the fact that they were monitoring him all the time, and they were checking after him all the time, I felt that I did something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like if you didn't push the way that you did, they would have never did their due diligence of holding him accountable in that way and giving you what you need, time and space to heal, and know that as an employer, that's important because that's the environment that you create. You know, if you let these things go to the wayside, you're basically saying that when this happens, we do nothing and that's okay. So from your efforts, they get to acknowledge as an employer that this is not okay.
And it was tough, and I know that most of the people that they go through this, they will face this. It was tough because the people that they don't understand, they look at you as you did something wrong. And you'll start feeling, I started doubting myself to a certain, I was like, what if I was doing something wrong? What if I was I initiated this? And after that, I was like, no, I didn't do something wrong. So this self-doubt, it will always be there. And you should be always you should always have the strength to to just stand up after that and keep believing in yourself,
Yeah, absolutely.
because this is what the abuser do in these situations.
Thank you for sharing a little bit more about what that piece of that experience looked like. I know that there's a lot more for you to share about your journey.
Yeah, so and in the meantime, the situation in the country wasn't safe, and we had an economic crisis, and it was it was hard for the female to go after 7 p.m.
Okay.
Or it's hard, like we heard a lot about uh, rape and drugs and sexual assault. So I wasn't feeling safe as a female
Mm-hmm.
in the area as well. Um, and then my father got sick, and within 3 weeks, he passed away. Uh, so at that time, I decided that it's the time to take care of my mom because she lost her life partner. I didn't take the time to grieve my father.
Okay.
And then the economic crisis went worse and worse in the country. So we weren't able to afford the treatment for my mother. We weren't able to afford like someone to support her at home. So it was very tough at this time. And and my priority was to take care of her, and I was working full-time job as a
Okay.
social worker.
That's a lot.
And I don't know how I had the strength. I know it's just because of her I had the strength to stand on my feet and to continue, just offer her the care and the love until she passed away. At the time I was engaged, and we had to do like just a small ceremony before my mom passed away because my fiance at that time and I, we wanted to make her happy. So it was like the light in the tunnel that I have someone who cares, who support, who like he's amazing. And then so I wanted after that to honor my parents, and I was doing a lot of charity work and
Okay.
philanthropy in their name.
That's amazing. That's really beautiful.
Thank you. And then we had the explosion, and in our capital, Beirut explosion, where I felt that if I don't leave now, I will lose myself.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and I started feeling that, I'm gaining weight, I'm not sleeping well, I have pain all over my body, and I understand why. Like, I started feeling that I'm not myself anymore. And I didn't have, like, and the country was like going worse and worse, so we didn't have the resources to like to go to the doctor or to have medication or anything else, and it was COVID. But whenever whenever God feels that the doors are closed for you, he will open a window or another
Right.
door.
Right.
So at that time I got my visa to come to Canada, and within a week I packed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I finished everything there, and I'm here.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And within 6 months, I did the link classes. I started volunteering, and I applied for the college to get my diploma in social service worker. And after I graduate in 2 months, I started working as a mental health counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And in the year next, I started teaching.
Wow.
And yeah, and now I'm teaching into colleges in the social service worker program and in the CYC. And I'm planning in 5 years to open my private practice.
Wow, that's really beautiful. You have, given back in so many ways tenfold over. So to have that goal to be able to start your own practice from this lens that you work with is just a beautiful and much needed thing in so many ways. There's not enough of mental health services available to help the amount of people that need it. So
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't stop therapy.
that's great. That's great. Thank you for speaking to, long-term therapy, because nowadays it feels like I'm in therapy myself. But nowadays it feels like, okay, you're doing good, time to close your case. And I'm like, well, what if something else comes up? Like
Exactly,
you don't really
exactly.
hear about that long-term need to have someone in your support system like that. And it's
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful
yeah.
that you've had
And
access to.
and that's why I'm healing now because of the therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I processed grief of my parents after 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like I processed my sexual assault. Like I talk about them because I want to raise the voice. I'm not now affected as I was before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of therapy.
Right.
That's mean healing can happen, but you have to work on it. It's not a magic that we
Right.
don't
This
have the
didn't
magic
happen.
wand.
You wake up and you're just healed.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
If there's one thing that you hope listeners take away from hearing your journey, what would that be?
This is life. I always say that if our hearts stop beating, that means we are not alive. There's always up and downs. So this is life. Your life will always have ups and downs. And if you believe in God or you don't believe in God or whatever you believe in, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. You have just to keep believing in yourself as well, and you will find it.
Thank you. Thank you. That's so beautiful. And for every episode that we have with a guest, we like to ask if you can leave one question for our listeners or our next guest to think about. For you, what would that question be?
If there any event that in your life that you use it as a reference to bounce back,
Hmm.
what it could be.
Do you have an event that you kind of coined that for yourself?
It's my mom.
Okay. And for each question that's left, we have a question for our guest to answer. So our last guest that was on the show, their story was very much different. They are a paranormal podcast host. So it was about them purchasing and living in a haunted so their question is, well, my first question is, how do you feel about spirits? Like, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like they're real? Like, do you have any positive, negative feelings about the existence of spirits?
So you were cutting off. I didn't hear everything.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry about that. So the last person that was on the show was a paranormal podcast host, and they came on to the pod to share a story about them purchasing and actively living in what would be considered a haunted house. So for you, before asking their question, what are your thoughts about spirits?
I don't know.
Okay.
As long as they are feeling comfortable and happy where they are,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as they are being able to pay back and to pay back maybe in kindness or love or peace,
Mm-hmm.
their experience is amazing.
Well, that's beautiful. I think their question that they have bypasses you, because their question was, if you do not believe in spirits, what do you think happens after we leave this plane? So it sounds like,
Ooh,
yeah.
ooh, it's
Any
very
thoughts
interesting.
about that?
I believe in spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I believe that we always come back. We all always come back in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do good, maybe you will come back in a better situation or in a bad situation because you are always tested. And if you do bad, like you will go back as a good or bad, but as if we are trying everything in this life,
Mm-hmm.
and as if we are being tested to see how much we are sticking to our values and how much we are sticking to be kind and nice and bringing peace to this world.
Thank you so much for that. And just to close us out, is there any resources or any kind of information that you would like to share with our listeners, just thinking about the fact that we're talking about the topic of mental health and trauma?
So there's a book recently that I'm reading it. I know that it's famous. The book is famous. Is The Body Keeps the Score?
Oh, yes, I am
Yeah.
familiar. Yeah.
Yes. There's this one, and there's the Four Agreements.
Okay, yep, I've read the Four Agreements too. That's
Yeah. And there's 40 Rules of Love.
okay. I haven't read that one, so I'll have to add that to my book of reads.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a game changer how you look to life.
Mm-hmm. I'll definitely take some time to find some links to Amazon, maybe some other places, so that whoever's listening and they might be interested in tuning in can give a look at that. Well, thank you so, so much, Yusra, for coming on the show and for sharing your story and your journey. I wish you the absolute best in all the amazing work that you're doing. And I hope that in the future, when you create your private practice, have the opportunity to share some information about it to the community.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and I wish you all the best in your podcast and in life in general.
Thank you so much. And to all of our listeners, I hope that there's something that you take away from this episode, along with what you shared. The takeaway is. I appreciate you all for listening and tuning in today. This is our after reflection moment, after we have just had the time and the opportunity to listen to a news story. I don't know about you, but I am so appreciative of Yusra for coming on to the show and sharing her story. You know, as a social worker, as someone who works in mental health too, it really meant a lot for me, for her to have a space to be able to share her journey and what she has gone through, just to really be able to help the world, the community of listeners that we have here, know that no one has an individual experience where there's never going to be someone out there that understands them, can hear them, and allow them to feel seen and heard. And I hope that today's story can allow anyone else who has potentially been a victim of sexual violence or sexual abuse to know that you are not alone, that there are resources out there for you. Yusra is from Canada, which is amazing to have someone from another country here. I'm from the US, so that was really nice. And I just hope that you were able to take something away from her story. As shared, we will have some resources to the books that she mentioned in the notes section. And I'll also just be including some resources about what has been shared today. And I hope that there's just some helpful takeaways. And I look forward to any conversation that we can have together in the comment sections. If you're listening on Spotify, there's a comment section there. If you're listening on YouTube, of course, you know that you can conversate and speak in there too. Let's have community, let's have some conversation, and hopefully bring some awareness and connection around mental health, and knowing the fact that we all have mental health, whether there are challenges or not, just as much as we all have physical health too. Thank you for listening, and be well.
Thanks for joining me at The Listening Well. If you have a story, a secret you've never shared, or a question you'd like advice on, or just something that you would like to share with somebody else, you can send it in anonymously if you wish at the email thelisteningwell25@gmail.com. Every story matters here, and I can't wait to hear yours. Until next time, keep listening and sharing.